Welcome back, everyone. Thank you for visiting the YouTube channel for bestbiblecommentaries.com. In this video, I'm going to talk about some different introductory and foundational Greek resources I use for my study of the New Testament, and perhaps there'll be some titles that you want to consider for your library. Before I get into it, I invite you to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and leave a comment if you wish, because those things really help support the channel. Also, if you have ever been interested in starting to learn New Testament Greek, later in the video, I will point you to a resource online that I recommend. It's just excellent. The videos are just excellent, and it is absolutely free. So I'll point that out when I get to that related resource in this video. All right. First of all, I want to point out two resources that have been foundational for me the last 25, 30 years. This is my New Testament Greek, the Greek New Testament. It's a UBS 4, so I don't know what they're on now, 6, 7, I have no idea. A dictionary in the back, so this is what I used in seminary, and when I used a hard copy, that's what I use. Often I'll just copy and paste things from Greek text from the internet, but this is the first Greek resource that I used in undergraduate, called New Testament Greek for Beginners by Machen. You can tell I spent a lot of time with it when I was learning Greek, and it has all these exercises in the book, and I did not realize until a few years ago that there's a little booklet that has the answers to all the exercises for Machen's Greek grammar. And if I had this little thing when I was studying Greek, I definitely would not have learned it very well, because this is too tempting. This is all the answers. So anyway, I don't know anybody who still uses this resource, but it's in my library just because, you know, we have personal history. All right, let's see. Let's start with the English-Greek Reverse Interlinear New Testament, ESV edition from Crossway. So many of you are familiar with an interlinear New Testament, probably have one of those, or an interlinear Bible. This is a reverse interlinear. So that might be self-explanatory, but let me just explain what it means if it's not clear. All right, let me see if I can show that here. Okay, so you see the primary line that's in bold in this text is in English. And then below that is the Greek. We have the Greek, and we have the transliteration, and we have the initials for parsing. Okay, so in a regular interlinear, you have the Greek as the primary line, and you have the English underneath of it. In a reverse interlinear, you have English as the primary line and the Greek underneath of it. So that is what a reverse interlinear is. And I mentioned the UBS 4. Crossway, I think all their Greek resources use the Nestle 28. So if you're familiar with that edition, that's what it is, Nestle 28. All right, the Greek English New Testament from Crossway as well. And in this resource, we have the Greek on the left-hand side and the English, the ESV, on the right-hand side. So this would be helpful for those learning to study New Testament Greek, or to read New Testament Greek. And I don't even think you need to be fluent or a master to benefit. I would not consider myself fluent. I can't just pick up my Greek New Testament and read it. I use Greek quite a bit, but it's not that good. But I would still benefit from being able to see. I know enough vocabulary where I could get some benefit out of it. So perhaps you would get more out of this one as well. All right, the next one is the Greek New Testament Reader's Edition from Crossway. And in this resource, we have Greek on both sides of the page. And then at the bottom of the page, we have parsing and very brief definitions. So if you can see here, there's next to this word there is a 1, and so you look down at the bottom and you match up one, and it's a genitive, singular, neutral. So these are abbreviated. And the short definition is controversial question, issue, or argument. So there's 23 different words so this side of the page, you can see it covers half the page. There's 23 different words that have a number that line up with the parsing and a brief definition there at the bottom. So the only English is at the bottom of the page with the brief definitions on this one. All right, I'll get to the grammars in just a second. Let me move over to these here. This is a pocket dictionary for the study of New Testament Greek, defines over 1,700 terms related to grammar, word study, textual criticism, exegesis, and so forth. This is by Matthew DeMoss. I wish I had this resource when I was learning Greek in undergraduate and in seminary. This would have been very helpful. It covers all sorts of Greek terminology related to the Greek New Testament, like dative, and also English as well, like words like syntax. I remember here's conjugation, connecting vowel. One of the things that one of my Greek professors used to say is that when you learn Greek, this is probably true when you learn any second language, but when you learn Greek, you will relearn English. And so I'm glad it has the English clause or words in here, because that was very, very helpful. But I wish I had this. I would have used it all the time, even if just to get a second definition, because sometimes a Greek grammar isn't crystal clear. Like I wasn't crystal clear on what the definition of a certain term was, just to have a secondary definition, and this little thing's probably $10. That would have been very helpful to me. But I still use it now as one of the dictionaries that I have. This is called Greek for Life, Strategies for Learning, Retaining, and Reviving New Testament Greek by Benjamin Merkel and Robert Plummer, two very good scholars. And there's different strategies for retaining Greek, and there's a chapter on using Greek resources wisely. Here's a chapter on how to get it back. There's a lot of people who learns Greek in seminary and then kind of lost it along the way. So Greek for Life, that's a good resource. All right, let me say something about the grammars now. I already mentioned Machen. There's a lot of Greek grammars out there. These are just the ones that I have on my shelf that I can speak to a little bit. I would guess this is the most popular Greek grammar today. Feel free to correct me if you think that's off, but I think this is probably the most popular one, Basics of Biblical Greek Grammar by William Mounce. I know Mounce because of his commentary in the WBC series of the Pastoral Epistles, which is one of my favorite commentaries. As far as grammars go, this is probably one that I've spent the least amount of time with, honestly, but it's so well known and so well used, and Mounce is so highly respected. I want it in my library, and I have consulted it, but I have not worked through it, page one to the end. I have not spent that amount of time with it, but I'm glad I have it on my shelf. One I've spent a little bit more time with is Greek Grammar Beyond the Basics by Daniel Wallace, an exegetical syntax of the New Testament. Now, you might be able to guess that one of the criticisms of this book is that there's certain sections that are just too thorough, that the student just doesn't need as much information as Wallace provides. Now, that has strengths and weaknesses. That criticism, I think, has strengths and weaknesses, because one of the things that I really like that Wallace does is he provides a lot of examples. So, if he's giving I don't know what he's talking about here, but here he gives five different examples from the New Testament, but there's other places where he'll give 8 or 10 examples of whatever he's talking about, and that's a lot of biblical text to quote. Personally, I like that feature, but there are others where the information might be less relevant than examples from the New Testament, and people have criticized it because they thought it's just too thorough in some places. So it's kind of a textbook and kind of a reference book at the same time, which I think has value, but I can understand someone thinking that this is just too much when other grammars are smaller, even an intermediate grammar is smaller. So, all right, next up is this resource. After seminary, and when I learned from Machen and another one I don't remember the name of that I don't have here with me, but this is the one I've consulted with the most. So this is by Benjamin Merkel and Robert Plummer, Beginning with New Testament Greek. So same authors as this book, Greek for Life. Subtitle is An Introductory Study of the Grammar and Syntax of the New Testament. Now here's the beauty of this book. There is a website that they made where you can see, I think it's Merkel, lecturing on every chapter in this book. And you do not need the book to listen to the chapters or even to benefit from everything that he's telling you. You can just watch the lectures and start learning New Testament Greek. So the first chapter is on the Greek alphabet. So Merkel is in the chapter, he's describing how to make each letter. Here's how you make the alpha. Here's how you make the beta. Well, in a book format, that can be a little bit challenging to follow all the strokes correctly. But on the video, you're watching him actually make the strokes of the characters, and it's extremely helpful. The second chapter is first declension nouns. The third chapter, second declension nouns, and so forth. And so all of the videos just follow the contents of this textbook, and it's really well done. And he's just talking to you like he would lecture in a class. And it's an extremely helpful resource. I'll put a link to it in the description down below, and you can get started after you watch this video. The intermediate version to this beginning Greek is going deeper with New Testament Greek. Same authors, plus Andreas Kostenberger. Some of you would be familiar with him from his New Testament commentaries. Subtitle, An Intermediate Study of the Grammar and Syntax of the New Testament. So haven't spent a ton of time with this one, but I'm glad I have it on myself, and I have referred to it. I have looked things up in it, but I have not gone cover to cover with this. The charts, I'll show you a couple of charts as well for those two resources. I like charts. So this is Beginning Greek with New Testament, charts for beginning Greek grammar and syntax. So we have nouns, declension of nouns, we have parsing of verbs and so forth. And then the charts for intermediate Greek as well. So charts are fun. They're only like, I don't know how much they are, $5 or $10 or something, but charts are fun. All right, feel free to leave comments or ask questions below, and feel free to get and follow that link. Check out those videos. So I don't get anything for that, so there's no incentive for me. It's just exciting if someone wants to learn New Testament Greek. Those are great videos. So, all right, see you next time.